I'm glad that the most underrated Karate Kid movie is finally getting a sequel. It only took 15 years. I am glad that, after 15 long years, the most underrated movie in the Karate Kid franchise is finally getting a sequel. Many popular action movie franchises from the 80s and the 90s have received revivals and remakes. However, most of them have not been as fortunate as Karate Kid. Despite being seemingly dead for quite some time, the Karate Kid franchise rose from its grave after Cobra Kai gave it new life by bringing a new spin to its familiar formula. Although Cobra Kai has finally ended its run with 6 seasons, the show's cultural impact, commercial success, and impressive critical ratings suggest the franchise is far from over. Even the Netflix show's creators have hinted that they are looking into ways to expand the franchise by focusing on new spin-offs surrounding Cobra Kai's characters. While only time will tell how these future projects will materialize, audiences can look forward to the upcoming Karate Kid film, which serves as a follow-up to the franchise's most underappreciated movie. The Karate Kid 2010 was a great movie and deserved a sequel. The original 1984 Karate Kid movie remains the best movie in the overarching franchise. In more ways than one, the 2010 remake attempts to recreate its tried-and-tested formula by only changing the setting and featuring a new of characters. Since the 2010 film's narrative structure is also a little too similar to the original film, many viewers and critics have touted it as a ripoff. However, the movie deserves credit for retelling a familiar story while still being entertaining throughout its runtime. The movie's focus on kung fu instead of karate also allows for a fresh martial arts experience, giving audiences a glimpse into a different discipline's cultural significance. Apart from leveraging the acting prowess and incredible on-screen dynamic of its two leads, Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, the Karate Kid remake manages to bring a creative spin on the original film's familiar elements. For instance, the jacket on, jacket off sequence is a fun take on the original's wax on, wax off moment. The movie's focus on kung fu instead of karate also allows for a fresh martial arts experience, giving audiences a glimpse into a different discipline's cultural significance. With so many elements in its favor, it is hard not to believe the 2010 remake always deserved a sequel. The Karate Kid remake is even better compared to the other Karate Kid sequels. The first Karate Kid movie's direct follow-ups not only received diminishing returns at the box office with each new installment, but also performed poorly among critics. While the Karate Kid Part II only has a Rotten Tomatoes critics score of 15%, the next Karate Kid has an even lower rating of 7% on the website. Similar to the OG Karate Kid sequel, the 2010 remake did not try to reinvent the franchise's wheel by shifting its focus to something different. Like its predecessors, it followed the familiar tale of an underdog who faces a more skilled rival after training under a wise mentor. Despite capturing the well-worn tropes of the sports movie genre, however, the 2010 film managed to create a lot more impact than Karate Kid's direct sequels. It also drove big numbers at the box office by earning close to $360 million against a budget of $40 million, proving that the franchise still had commercial appeal even after decades since the first film's release. For a while, its sequel was also in the works, but unfortunately, it never saw the light of day. 15 years later, the movie is finally getting a follow-up, which does not serve as a direct extension of its narrative, but fills the same emotional and thematic void. A crossover with Daniel LaRusso is the best way for 2010's Karate Kid to get a sequel. Karate Kid Legends might narratively seem similar to many previous installments of the franchise. However, what makes it a unique addition to the franchise is the fact that it bridges the gap between two distinct universes. The Karate Kid 2010 remake was always treated as a separate entity, believed to exist in a separate universe from the remaining films. In its early seasons, Cobra Kai 2 introduced story beats that made it nearly impossible for the show to include characters from the remake. However, Karate Kid Legends is seemingly achieving the impossible by breaking down many creative barriers and bringing together two of the most iconic senseis in the franchise. It is providing audiences with a rare crossover event that could only seemingly exist in fan fiction surrounding the franchise. Although a follow-up to the Karate Kid 2010 remake might still have worked even without the Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Hand team-up, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan's collaboration makes the film all the more exciting.